this morning to try to make a video about book reading and why I think that book readers are an endangered species.
I don't think they're endangered species.
Well, yes, they're always in danger. They were when I was a child. If you read books, you were not rewarded for it. Like, I was raised in Utah. Well, my mother had decided that classics.
Southern Utah.
Yeah, southern Utah. And my mother, who had lived in Salt Lake and other places, she decided that her children, she wanted them to read classics. So she went out and got a whole room full of classics, which I thought were just marvelous. And they were the best books in the world, the best books that had ever been written. And she put them in there. And I remember there was a whole...
That's the way they call them.
Classics, yes. There was a whole bunch of little red books.
Make sure we're on the same line here.
Russian author, French short story writers, Rudyard Kipling, English, all kinds.
I think I get the picture.
Of marvelous. Okay. And so I was always busy in there, reading Balzac and going out to feed the chickens.
Balzac.
We were poor then.
Always made me a little nervous,
Yes. This one I had. This Droll Tales. Oh, man.
Just the name was scary,
Yeah, well, Balzac was very appealing to me at that time. And there were short stories by Balzac. It wasn't
I can imagine a female would be very excited, but...
But anyway, and when I was like 8 years old, my mother bought The Grapes of Wrath. And I read that. And I just thought it was a wonderful book because the author knew all about poor people or farmers. It dealt with our problems. And that book was just so illuminating to me. But that around about that time, my family, my mother and dad started getting a little alarmed over my passion for books. And so this started a tendency of me, like whenever my parents had come in the house, I would hurry and put my book under the chair, hide it. And my sister did the same thing, she said. And then I would grab a broom.
I did the same thing when I was 13. You remember that?
Yeah.
I used to go down and buy this photographer model thing.
Oh, book, a magazine?
Females were just, nothing but swimming suits on.
Oh, and so you'd have to hide that?
No, but I thought, I'm just throwing that out. They weren't naked or anything.
Well,
jeez.
And then too, being
Mormon, a Mormon state. Parents?
Yes, hide a book from the parents. But aside even from the parents, I thought that my parents on both sides, especially my dad's side, were pretty. My dad had a sister who taught English, who was a big book reader. And so I thought that I had the best of all possible worlds as far as being encouraged to read classics. But the rest of the kids, especially the ones who were from religious families, they were not encouraged to read. Mormons didn't really encourage reading other than their own publications, their own magazines, and their own books. So when a whole state is like this...
I wonder why.
A whole state is like this, then a student like me, who by the time I was 20 had read very widely and was a top student as far as literature was concerned, English. And at the time I would say that I was severely punished in the end for being this kind of person, for being a book reader, for being so different, a little more different. Now, I was going to the University of Utah, which was not a Mormon school. I avoided that. I avoided BYU.
I disagree, but I'm not going to point that.
But there were still a lot of Mormon teachers
if you're in Utah.
If you're in Utah and Salt Lake City, which they consider themselves pretty advanced, but I would say
they've got automobiles, don't
they? The classic literature was not encouraged. And at 20 years old, I was encouraged. It was recommended that I go see the school psychiatrist because I was beginning to become disillusioned.
How old were you?
I was 20. I was becoming
Oh, man,
disillusioned
you were a
with.
nutcase, yeah?
I was becoming disillusioned with college, and I was thinking about leaving before I graduated. Well, this was.
Well, I would think if I was in, I would think about getting out.
Yeah, well, that's what I wanted to
Go to
do.
UCLA.
I
Or
was thinking,
Stanford,
well,
you know,
maybe my father
head up
will
to
send me
MIT,
to another
Zippo
university.
University of Chicago, or even come to St.
Yeah.
Louis, Washington University.
Yeah,
Top 20
well,
college.
this is what I kind of had in mind,
I
but
thought I'd throw that in.
I knew I was going to have a lot of trouble with my dad because it was like no other world existed except Utah. Utah's a pretty big state, so I thought, well, how am I going to talk him into sending me to...
One of your arches fell down the other day, I guess you knew that.
Yes, I do. Another state, another college. That's where I need to go.
The best way to get
If
the
I'm
hell
going to be
away
a
from
writer,
your parents,
yeah,
right?
my parents
Why do you
and
think?
the church. I needed
Why
to
do you
get
think
away
parents send your kids
from
to
a
another
Mormon
state?
world. It was like in Utah, it was like people didn't even hardly take in the rest of the world. It was like you were
They
living in a
don't.
Mormon world. So I wanted to get away from there.
You're
Well,
living in
I
a
was sent to
bubble.
a school psychiatrist, and within 10 minutes, he was Mormon. 10 minutes, mind you, I was thrown into a psych ward. And then on that, I was not going to get out of there until I'd been electric shocked. I just decided.
I am shocked
Yes.
to hear
electric
that.
shock.
They didn't do
Yes.
that to you.
Yeah. Well, the only reason they didn't do it to me because I wouldn't let them.
Are you sure you're not lying to me?
Yeah, and what I had to do to stop them was
You
unbelievable.
sound like a woman that should be electric shocked.
Well, I wasn't going to be thrown in there and given electric shock after 10 minutes. I was a top student. I was an absolutely top student
That's
at the
your
time that I
problem.
went in there.
That
Yeah.
is your
That was the problem. The problem. I was too much. You know.
Well, you're too much today, too.
Yeah, that's what people thought. And this psychiatrist didn't really understand me. And
What were you speaking, Zach?
and so what? You throw students like that into the mental hospital, and you electric shock them. Is that what you do to them?
What were you doing? Speaking
I said to myself, this is the dark ages. I just will be burned at the stake. If they give me electric shock, I'm dead. And my brain, all this is going to be ruined.
Wait a
Supposed to
minute.
stop.
I was gonna
Is
burn
it
you
10
at the,
minutes?
burn you at the stake.
Burn me at the
Burn
stake.
you at the
That's
stake.
exactly how I felt. I felt I'm being dragged in here. I'm going to be killed
All right,
by
stick a-
electric
stick a
shock.
finger out.
Because I had by
one
that
finger,
time
okay?
developed a certain fragile. No, I had developed some fragile in my health, something fragile, and I told them this. They wouldn't listen to me, and so actually, after the stress of 5 days of incarceration and not being able to
Incarcerated?
persuade them,
What does incarceration mean?
I just froze up. I started to die.
Incarceration means
And
that
I
you
thought,
froze
well,
up.
I'm going to have to die in order to get out of electric shock, but that I'll die slow, and then I'll be able to maybe come back. But if electric
gonna
shock
die slow?
kills me just like that, I'll be gone. I'll be dead.
No, it's not
Plus,
gonna
maybe
like
my
that.
memory is going to be completely obliterated to the point that I won't even be able to do what I should have been able to do with my
That's
mind.
what they're trying to do.
So,
Don't you understand
But anyway,
that?
after I died for 4 hours and finally I came to, I went,
Back
yes.
this truck up a second.
Yes.
Okay. This is a back the truck up now. Do they have clinical proof that you have died for 4 hours?
Yes, they have it in the notes. I was unconscious. They were like,
No. Did you
My doctor
flatline
was-
for 4
no,
hours?
of course
Well, then
not.
you didn't die.
well, I was dying.
Oh.
And then finally, at
Well,
the end of
see,
4
you
hours,
died
I
and-
started,
You didn't put the ing on there, okay?
I was dying. And,
I thought I might have something
Yeah.
really
Well,
weird
after
here, right?
4
Died for
hours,
4 hours and you came back?
I finally quit breathing.
Oh.
And then I thought, oh, well, here I am. And then I couldn't stop doing what I was doing. Then suddenly,
What were you doing?
I was dying to get out of electric shock.
Oh.
The only way that you could get
You know,
out
I
of it
never
was
thought
to be
about
half
that.
dead.
I didn't know that.
You were going to get it. Everybody in there was getting it. Everybody. Except one person.